Aloha and shalom, everybody. I'm just letting you know I've got kittens running around the room and they're extra energetic this morning, so you've been warned. Alrighty, we're here for the new moon activation. So we've been doing the activations mainly in the evening, so it's kind of a nice shift to be doing it in the morning. At least where I'm at, it's the morning. So transmitting live from Sedona, Arizona, early this morning. Early this July morning, end of July, about to move into the month of August. So last week was the final quarter. We wrapped up one cycle so that we could begin a new cycle today with the new moon. Just setting up my little space here, and while I do, let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from. Where in the world are you? For those of you who have been coming here every week for years, welcome back to the activation portal. And for those of you who are new, welcome to the portal. The way the activation works is we pull these cards and it forms a message of inspiration. So it's actually really simple. There's no crazy complicated thing going on here. Magic can be simple. It's just a message of inspiration. So for the new moon, it's all about a new beginning. Whatever shape the moon is in, it's just reflecting what's going on inside of us. That's really all it is. So new moon means new beginning for us. And remember, when we shuffle the cards, we got Canada in the house, we have South Africa in the house, we have Western Australia in the house. Awesome. When we shuffle the cards, we're shuffling up the different parts of the mind, because remember, each card represents a different aspect of the mind, both individual and collective. So as we shuffle, what happens is we're touching each part of that mind. We're waking up the whole thing. We're lighting it up. We have California in the house. So while I'm shuffling, just prepare to receive the message. Maybe you want to have water near you. Maybe you want to make sure you're comfortable, that you're warm enough or cool enough wherever you are in the world. And you may wish to share this video with any friends or family while we're live, maybe a favorite group while we're live right now. Go ahead and share it. Or you may want to wait till the end, where the recording will be loaded to YouTube and Instagram, Rebecca Magic. That way you can share it with others who are not on Facebook. Sean says he just finished my first book this morning. Yay! Awesome. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Hooray! That's so awesome. Alright, just pulling out the Hebrew cards. They look like this. Gonna shuffle it up. Works the same way. Each card, each letter, each Hebrew letter represents a different piece of archetypal wisdom or represents a different angle of perspective, just like the tarot cards. Okay. There is a mosquito trying to be activated. Okay. So beginning with the tarot, we're giving thanks in advance for the message that's about to come through. Thank you, archetypes, faces of the one, which means all of us, for this message that we're about to pull together as one. New moon, new beginning, comes with a new challenge, which also represents a gift as we move through that challenge. So what is this focus, aka the challenge and gift for the week, starting right now? What's something we're stepping away from so that we can create space for what's happening right now? And then with the Hebrew cards, we will pull the ally of the week. All right, so what's the challenge and focus? starting off with a major arcanum card again. I feel like that's such a reflection of how strong this group is and how strong we've become, meeting every single week all these years together. We end up pulling these major arcanum cards almost every time because we're so intentional. So pulling these major arcanum cards every time just is reflecting our intentionality and our ability to go straight to what is important. Okay, so it's the Sun card. The Sun is the challenge and the gift, the focus of the new moon. You always want to look to the cards before and after because tarot is a sequence. The card before will tell you how we got here. The card after will tell us where we're headed. The card before is the moon. And the moon is all about reprogramming, moving through the darkness of the subconscious, navigating those deeper places so that we can make a shift, create a shift within, to then move on to the sun and shine that shift in the light of day. Shine all that we've learned. Shine all that we've transformed. Shine all that has transpired within. Okay? And then after 19 comes 20. That's the Judgment card. And that's all about self-reflection upon whatever it was you were radiating. It's like you go through these transformations with the moon, you reprogram. With the sun, you shine out your new frequency. You radiate a new frequency. And then with 20, Judgment, it's that inner mother and father who then turns to face the self and reflect on all that you're radiating, this new frequency that you're radiating. Okay, so we're right in the middle of that process right now. So if this is the challenge and the gift, what does that mean? What does that look like? Let's talk about first, if you're experiencing it more on the challenging end of the spectrum, what does that look or feel like right now? It can look like or feel like, I don't know exactly what changes I've made recently. I don't really know how to integrate them. I feel a little shy about all of this work that I've just done within. I don't know how to express it. So you might be feeling shy, not comfortable with finding new ways of expressing the new you. You might feel more challenged. Like some of us may feel like there's more adversity, like there's more stuff in the way that's not allowing us to shine. And I invite you to look at those thoughts that come up as maybe excuses. Maybe they're excuses. Okay, so for example, you might feel like there's this new me that I want to express that I've been working on, but gosh, everybody around me is really used to that old me, so maybe I should just dumb it down. Maybe I should just hide my light, dim my light. And that's a big fat no. Absolutely not. That's not what you should do. You've got to face that adversity. You've got to look at whatever it is in your environment that is a reflection of your old self, and you need to face it head on and say, no, but this is the new me. And be firm in that. And as long as you know who you really are here now, because who you are is always shifting. Your true essence is always the same. Yet in this human experience, we're always shifting, and you have to confidently own every shift. You have to confidently be who you know you are here now until you evolve again, and then you confidently be that new version of yourself. So again, for some of us, it's more challenging. For some of us, it might be a little bit easier. Maybe some of us are in communities where those kinds of shifts are more regular, more natural, more the norm. Maybe you're a part of a conscious new age community where everybody's talking about these, conscious concepts of growth, these new age concepts on the regular, on the daily. And so in a space like that, it might feel more safe. You might feel more prepared to shine a new light, to show a new part of yourself. Okay? So you can see it really depends on setting, who you're surrounding yourself with, as far as the people in your life, the relationships in your life, where you're working or where you're working on projects, hobbies, who you're doing those creative projects with. So think about it. Where are you spending the most time? Who are you spending that time with? What is the environment? How is it supporting or not supporting your growth? Because if you're watching this, you're on that path of growth. So understand that right now is a time to shine everything that you've just learned, everything that you just transformed within. It's time to shine it without, to show who you have become until the next round of shifting and evolution, right? And that really calls us to question, who are we surrounding ourselves with? How are we spending our time every day? And it's not an excuse. You may say, oh, well, I live in a community where people aren't really onto these new age concepts, where people want to hold on to the old me. And that's great, but they are not you. You still have to commit to your changes, to your growth. It's about you. So while it's good to make those observations of who am I spending time with and how am I spending my time, it's great to make those observations, but you got to do something with that information. Either say, geez, I have to shift my relationships. I have to surround myself with new people or put myself in a new environment, or I have to be willing to accept that environment, be aware of where I'm putting myself, and remain alert so that I can continue to anchor in this frequency of the new me, no matter what, or no matter who is, going on around me, no matter what's happening around me. So again, it's not an excuse, but it's about bringing awareness to how your setting is or is not supporting your shifting. And then we want to reel it in and bring it back to just the self. How is this environment that is my very body, because this is the first house we live in, is the body, right? How is this most closest, most precious home, which is my body, my shell, my vehicle, supporting or not supporting the new me? Okay, so let's take it into a more intimate level here, regardless of what's happening on the outside. Are you a safe space for these shifts to take place? Is your body a safe home? Is your mind a safe space to dwell in? And not just safe, but is it a supportive, is it a celebratory space? Is your body and your mind, the emotions you're carrying, are all of those things encouraging and supporting this next version of yourself? How can you shift the way you're thinking, the way you're feeling? How can you maybe do more physical activity or less physical activity, or maybe take better care of your skin? All these things are very important considerations when you're asking yourself, how am I supporting or not supporting the coming out of this next version of myself? Okay, so what are the changes that you've made within? What are the realizations that you've had this past month? What are the revelations you've been meditating on? And how can you see that perhaps within your mind or within your emotions, within your physical being even, and then to extend that within your environment, within your relationships, how can you see the blocks or the resistance that is there in the way of becoming who you are meant to become in this moment? And again, it helps to consider the card that's coming, right? Because we're at 19. What's to come is 20, judgment. What would the inner mother and father, the archetypal mother and father, not your mom and dad in this lifetime, although they've contributed to that definition, however, consciously or not, you formed it. How would those inner perspectives, the mother and father of your heart, guide the process right now? Before you get to that point of having to reflect and judgment, right? How could they help you right now look at what's going on in your environment, within and without, and point out the things that need to shift so that you can better radiate that light that's trying to burst out of you? Ask that now before you get to that inevitable part of the story, because we're moving from the sun to judgment. So before we get there, that's what's coming. This is what tarot does. It gives you a hint of the future. So if we know that's the trajectory, how can we ask ourselves right now, would mother and father of my heart be proud? How could they help to guide me through this part of the process? How could they help to point out where there are blockages, or help to point out where I can create a shift that would allow more light to come through? Okay, and something to leave behind. Knight of Wands. And this is something that is a factor that could potentially be in the way of this challenge and gift right now. Okay? And the Knight of Wands in this context, in regard to what I'm seeing, is don't be so hasty. Don't rush this process, okay? The Knight of Wands is the Fire of Fire card. Check out how red it is, all fiery. Even his feathers, like very fiery. It's the feather of the phoenix. It's about like conquering, okay? Just want you to like take in that image. And knights are about action. So it's in calm down. Calm down. Slow down. Okay, it's like instead of being on this fiery horse and charging ahead, we're trying to be like this on this horse, okay? And I just want to point out also, check out the child has a feather on his head as well. But this is like extravagant and overdone, and here it's more modest, more humble. The child is naked with no bridle on the horse, just showing that sense of freedom and innocence. Okay, so it's like calm down, let go of that need to rush to the answers. Calm the fire a bit. Okay, we're not here to conquer, run to the next thing. This takes patience. It takes presence. And it takes innocence. Because innocence will determine the quality of the light that we're shining. Okay, so for example, don't be so in a rush to show everybody who you are and who you've become. But remember that who you truly are and who you're becoming ever more of is that light of the essence of who you are, your true innocence. And in order to shine that, you need to calm that fire. You need to tame that fire, because the embodiment here of innocence is cultivated through a proper, balanced frequency of the elements, okay? So here it's like we've got a lot of fire. But if you want to be like this, you want to be balanced in all of the elements. And that's how you can really shine the highest light of who you really are. Okay, so it's about calming the ego down. It's not about getting somewhere. It's not about getting anywhere. It's about being so right here, now. Because the second we move and think we need to go somewhere, we're forgetting that there is nowhere. There's only here now. Time and space are illusions. And so if we're in that frequency, that fiery frequency of, I need to get there now, I need to go over this place, it's taking away from your presence. It's taking away from your ability to just be here. And the more you can just be here, the more you anchor in, the more you ground to be a pillar of that light. Okay? So the message here is calm down. Stop trying to rush to the next thing. Stop trying to rush to show everybody who you are. Who you truly, really are is the light of your innocence. It's the light of immortality. And you don't need to go anywhere or do anything to shine that light. In fact, you need to be still and present. And that's when the light can take root, right? It's like if you stand still, you can ground into the earth and you become like a conduit for this light. And the ally of the week is the Gimel. And it's the third letter of the alphabet, third letter of the Hebrew alphabet. And it kind of looks like a shoe. It kind of looks like a high heel. Okay, so it's about action. The Gimel is all about action and giving. Okay, so what is the action here? If this is the ally in regard to this message, what is the action here that we're meant to be taking? We clearly said, calm down. Don't feel like you need to run over here or over there. The action that we should be taking should be doing whatever we need to do to be able to create a space for us to be still and ground in. Those are the only kinds of actions, fire, because action is fire, that we should be taking right now. May our actions be out of givingness. May our actions be out of that loving kindness, service. May our actions be focused on our mission of shining that light of our innocence, bringing more of that light into the world, which is the light of our immortality, our true essence. So the ally is saying, in regard to this message, really be aware of what actions you're taking. Are your actions inspired by ego? Are your actions so on fire that you're missing the whole point? Or can you cool it down? Can you remember the intention behind your actions? That everything you should be doing right now should be about removing those blocks that are keeping you from shining that new light that you've cultivated. The light of your realizations and revelations. The light of your self-reflections that have led you to want to make these changes, to grow. Whatever's holding you back, those are the actions you want to take. Take actions to remove the blockages so that the light can come through. But the light, meaning the light of your innocence, the light of who you truly are, the light of the virtues. Okay, so for example, if you're more on the challenging end and you're really stuck here, what it's going to look like is you feel like you have something to prove. You feel like you need to show who you've become, and you start taking these egoic actions that actually get you nowhere. Or instead, you can remember that the only actions that you need to take right now are those that are going to allow you to be a better person. Those that are going to allow you to shine that light from within, that is the light of your innocence, so that that can be seen in the world, so that that can be expressed and received in the world. Okay? So the Gimel is calling us to really pay attention to what actions we're taking, what are the intentions behind them, which should always be about bringing more light into the world, okay? Which then requires us to ask, what is that light? What is the highest quality light I could possibly shine? Okay, it's the light of my innocence, the light of our one heart, the light of the virtues. So if that's the light I gotta shine more of, then I know what actions I need to take. The actions are not of the ego, but the actions are of the soul. I'm here to serve and bring out that purest light. Okay, so how does this look like in our everyday lives? Just ask yourself, start today, it's the new moon. Ask yourself, how can I shine more right now? How can I shine more? And what does that even mean, shine more? How can I be more radiant in a way that brings out that light of my innocence? That light of truth, of honesty, of sharing, of kindness, of selflessness, of compassion. How can I touch that compassionate place within my heart? Like, get back in touch with that space, recognizing the work that I have done this past month to get in touch with that space, or recognizing that I didn't do enough to get in touch with that space. But how can I do it now? How can I get in touch with that light in my heart and observe the ways in which my life is fashioned, the ways that I've chose my life to be set up that are holding me back from shining that light? And how can I make some changes in thought, in speech, in action? How can I make changes as far as my relationships and the scenarios I put myself in, the settings I put myself in? How can I shift that in my life so that I can set it up in a way that will bring that light out of me and of others? How can I see where I've been too hasty, where I've been rushing, where I've been taking actions for the wrong reasons, in the wrong ways? How can I purify that process and now take correct actions that are giving and loving and coming from a space of compassion, so that I shine not only my light, but help others to shine their light too, so that more of that truest, purest light of who we really are can come into the world. And I just want to say, for those of you who are not as much on the challenging end of the spectrum, but are experiencing more of the light end of the spectrum, it just looks like you're at a really good time right now. You are shining that light. You're feeling confident about your process, and still you're observing the spaces where you can maximize the potential for shining that light. There's always more work to do. Okay, so we're all removing the blockages, because there are always more blockages to remove, so that we can shine ever more light, because that light is infinite. Again, just for some, it's a little more challenging right now, and for others, it's a little easier. But we're all in the same boat. We're all experiencing the same energies. So stay on that path, inspire one another, and do your best. That's all you can do. we're in it together. Thank you guys so much for being here for this activation, for bringing this message out so that we can do this work together. Light up the globe. For those of you who really enjoy these messages, it makes a difference in your life. If you find that these activations have served you in some way and you want to give back, you can find my links for donation on my wall on Royal Path Tarot Facebook page. I've got Venmo, I've got Cash App, I've got PayPal, and I'm so grateful for the donations that have been coming in. I don't always ask, and for many years I didn't at all. And it's just beautiful to see that those of you who are donating now are those of you who've been coming to these activations every week for years. I'm like so overwhelmed with gratitude to see these sweet donations coming in to give back. Because it means so much to me. I take the time out to do this every single week, not for anything in return, but for the same reasons you all are showing up, so that we can grow together, learn together, so that I can receive this message alongside you all and do the work. And I know that a lot of you have wanted to give back, and now I'm providing those links to do so. So if that feels right for you, please check out my wall for the donation links. I'll post them again after the video. Remember, I'm also on Instagram and YouTube, Rebecca Magic. So follow, subscribe, contact me on there. If anybody's wanting a one-on-one reading, I am scheduling readings, so just reach out to me anytime. You can email me, info@royalpathtarot.com. Or you can just go to royalpathtarot.com and find the link there, or you can private message me on any of my social media pages. And for those of you who have been reading my book, yay! I'm so glad you're enjoying. We have Royal Path 1 and 2. If you want to learn about the major arcanum and the Hebrew letter correlations, or if you want to learn about the elemental suits, the minor arcanum, and manipulations within those realms of tarot, it's all in here. And it's not a very dramatic read, you guys. However, the information is deep, and it may take time to move through these parts of the stories. And also, don't forget, you guys, I have a video course on each of the major arcanum cards. So each major card has its own hour to hour and a half long class. And the course is different from the books because it goes into the occult symbolism and art on the cards. So it actually goes really nicely together. So reach out to me if there's a particular card you want to go deeper with, or if you want to do the whole course and learn about all of the major arcanum cards. Time to get in touch with the Alliance. All right, you guys, happy new moon, new beginning. We're doing this work together. I'll see you next week for the first quarter activation, and we'll see where we're at then. Many blessings. Shalom.